Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Rusty McCranie. Welcome to Weather Express. It's your weather in 5 minutes. Start the clock. Friends, we do have a very dangerous weather event beginning to unfold in portions of the northern plains and the western Great Lakes. That's where we're going to start this video. Thunderstorms on this Monday are already beginning to develop in portions of North Dakota. But as we get deeper into this Monday afternoon and evening, these storms are going to line up and they're going to become even more severe as we go later in the day. The Storm Prediction Center has actually put out a moderate risk of severe storms. That's a 4 out of 5 on the scale for portions of South Dakota, southwest Minnesota, and northern Iowa. Places included are Sioux Falls, Mankato, and Mason City. And then your enhanced risk in orange goes from Minneapolis all the way down towards Cedar Rapids. So these areas will be under the gun for significant winds associated with these storms. We could see 75 to 100 mile an hour winds, baseball size hail, and some potential tornadic activity. You can already see a few severe thunderstorm warnings near the Bismarck area. Wind gusts there have peaked over 50 miles an hour at times as the thunderstorms have come through. You've had non-thunderstorm wind gusts in South Dakota already over 40 miles an hour. Look, this situation is just beginning to evolve. I wanted to get this video out early today, so for those folks that will be impacted by this can be weather aware the remainder of this Monday. This severe thunderstorm watch already has maximum wind gusts of 75 miles an hour and 1.5 inch size hail. But as we get closer to seeing the thunderstorms get into that moderate risk area, the criteria or the potential for the storms will only go up. That's why these straight line winds, again, could be 75, 90, even 100 miles an hour. Baseball hail, some potential tornadic activity. If you live in these areas, you need to stay weather aware the remainder of the day. You need to make sure you have multiple ways to get the weather alerts to you and your family. So when we look at the current local storm reports, just to show you again, in the Bismarck area, we had a 58 mile an hour wind gust. The eastern sides of Montana, we already had some inch size hail. And we even had, again, some thunderstorm damage being reported with storms earlier in portions of southern Minnesota. So again, this is a very dangerous situation that is evolving in this area with 75 to 100 mile an hour straight line winds with the storms coming in throughout the remainder of this Monday. We'll now move on to the rest of the forecast into the Northeast. It's a beautiful day. Look, there's a lot of the country where the biggest story is going to be the heat. We're breaking out some thunderstorms, southern sides of Michigan, in the portions of the Ohio Valley. These are current temperatures, which again are climbing well into the 90s. If you don't get the thunderstorms, my friends, you're going to see mid and upper 90s in a lot of the southeast and in the Tennessee Valley and the southern plains. You're going to get feels like temperatures 115 or higher in a couple of spots, and that is not an exaggeration. You can see some of these numbers here through the afternoon hours peaking above those numbers. There are heat advisories across most of the eastern 2/3 of the United States. It is hot, it is dry in the southern plains, a few thunderstorms developing here in portions of the Four Corners. It is much more comfortable out west, but it is still relatively quiet as far as any threat for any thunderstorm activity. These are all of the heat advisories. So just south of all of the severe weather, again, you not only have heat advisories, but there are some areas that have extreme heat warnings, like the Jacksonville, Florida area, for feels like temperatures that could be approaching 115 degrees this afternoon. And again, the heat index across the country, if I just pause this here at the last frame in the afternoon hours, again, you're going to see a lot of triple digit heat, but not only that, 110 to even 120 in a couple of spots. All right, so let's get into the models. This is the high resolution rapid refresh over the next 48 hours. Obviously, we're going to get right into what's happening with our moderate risk of storms. So again, let's break down how this is going to evolve here the remainder of today. First of all, the storms will develop south into South Dakota and then swing into Minnesota. And as we get into the evening, and I want to be clear about this, overnight, a lot of this activity will be overnight and into Tuesday morning for Minneapolis and Rochester back towards Mason City. Notice how this line just evolves, and this entire wind event will continue into Wisconsin and potentially the northern sides of Illinois towards Chicago, hopefully dying out as it does so. But right through the daybreak hours of our Tuesday, we could have a massive straight line wind event with additional thunderstorms trying to redevelop just south of that area on Tuesday. Most of this will not get into the Ohio Valley or the Northeast. We'll have scattered afternoon showers and storms in the Southeast to try and break up the heat a little bit. And again, that is welcome rain and storms, but many dry hours and locations in the Southeast the next couple of days. The most impactful storms, again, coming out of the Intermountain West and the High Plains and moving through portions of the central and the northern sides of the plains and the western Great Lakes. Severe weather risk for tomorrow is already a slight from eastern Wyoming through Nebraska and the western sides of Iowa. That could get upgraded to an enhanced risk again. And then we have a marginal risk for severe storms a little bit farther south on our Wednesday. But again, and I know I'm into overtime here, friends, but to reiterate the significant wind events to go along with baseball-sized hail and potentially some tornadic activity late today and early on Tuesday for these areas, especially in red. I am out of time. I appreciate you making Weather Express a part of your daily routine. Let me know in the comment section below where you're viewing from. Thanks so much for your support by liking and subscribing to the channel. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe. I'm back tomorrow with the latest 5-minute forecast.